Hello. What's happening
Alive.
here?
Look at that.
We have
Crazy.
a
Remember
nighttime,
when this league was like dead?
or like yesterday. Welcome to the official, the only conference championship preview. I'm Liam Hammer. I'm joined by the commissioner, Jake Molyneux. How are you doing tonight, Jake?
Yeah, what's up? Doing great. Doing great.
It's been a hot second since I streamed last, so yell at me if the volumes are wrong or it's not coming through or whatever's happening
Make sure to
because
yell at
I'm yelling. Okay.
you. No, I'll make sure to yell at you
Oh yeah, Jake,
because
you
I
can
can do
always
that.
yell at me.
I
Um,
have that power. Ooh,
hello. I want to say hello to everyone in the chat. We got David Leathers and we got Chad Roland, newly minted owner of
again,
of the Washington Wastelanders. I forgot. I have
you
the
take
screen on
back
the.
the team you started.
You're saying we're not about to have this one on the screen yet? Don't look. Oh, there we go. It's
There
perfect.
it is.
It's perfect. Conference championship
Look
preview. We
at that.
got a
Can you
couple.
tell we're rusty?
We're very rusty. Um, Conference championship preview. We got two incredible games this tomorrow, Jake. This season has been agony at points, and now we are finally to the
Really?
playoffs. We have lots of exciting stuff. I don't think this could be the last stream you and I do, because we got a lot of stuff to talk about this offseason.
I'm sure we'll be doing this again like next week before the Gen Bowl.
Yes, I'm sure. Juice joining back in the chat, longtime owner of the
Yes,
Jamaica
sir.
Hummingbirds. I did get me some hummingbirds.
Hashtag bring back the
Just
bird.
imagine I had some hummingbirds merch. All the teams back here.
Hey, bro. Dude, like, I love the Hummingbirds, bro. I don't like the uniforms they went out. The last time they played that dark green was not it, but, like, the bright colors, Chuck It, Cash Moon, that was such a fun team.
It was a fun team. It was one of the best teams, and hopefully they're back in this conversation next season, which hopefully won't get cut
Hashtag bring
short.
back the birds.
Bring back the birds. I'm totally on hashtag bring back the birds. Let's get into the game. So we're gonna start with the game that, hey, it's one of the biggest games of the season, but it's not the biggest game of the season. We're gonna start with Rutland taking on the number 3 seeded Green Bay Wolfpack, and 9 levels of Radzovic. Obviously, last week against where they played the New Jersey Mustangs, he kind of
Mustangs.
he kind of went off. 26 attempts, 118 yards, and three touchdowns. 3 touchdowns. He won Player of the Week very convincingly. So for Rutland in this game to beat Green Bay, who put up a defensive gem against the Whales in the divisional round, what do they have to do to beat this team? They're obviously at home. They are the favorites in the situation. What is your take on what they need to do to win this game?
I think, and by the way, Rutland, do not do the exact opposite of everything I'm going to say, please. But I think you can't abandon the run. I know how Green Bay played very well against Blanchard last week, and they forced Napoli to like have to throw the ball, and that it didn't go too well for them. But I think you can't abandon the run. And I think defensively you need to step up. You got to force you got to force Green Bay's defense to be playing from behind, because when they're playing in front, they start feeling it. The energy's high, and they start making plays. Like when that team's feeling it, they're feeling it. So you gotta set the tone. You gotta stay in front and shut them down on the offensive side of things.
Yeah, I agree with you, Jake. I mean, because Green Bay's defense is very aggressive when they have a chance to go get it. Once you get that lead and you can just send the dogs, that front. I mean, where the team works the best from is when it can just, like the Eagles in the Super Bowl, rush 4 and drop back in coverage. And so for Rutland, if you can, that's one thing Boston was never able to do. They were never able to establish the game early. They were never able to establish the run, and it completely sunk them. So if they can establish the run early and take the whole aggression out of the Wolfpack defense, we've seen them give up points this season. It's not like they've been an impenetrable fortress. I mean, I think coming into this game, I asked you and Vibe about where you would rank the defenses. I think you both ranked them about like 4th or 5th out of 6 teams.
Yeah.
So not great. It's obviously, I think Rutland is unfortunately very well built to beat Green Bay in this situation.
I mean, and also Rutland doesn't really throw the ball that often. They are very run first, but I feel like if they get behind and they have to start throwing the ball, we saw Kareem Young and Charles Brown. They destroyed Napoli last week. I think they each had like a pair of sacks. Maybe one. I think Young might have had three. Like they were all over Napoli. It was ugly for the Boston offense, excluding one Jake Blanchard run that broke off.
And that's going to happen because Blanchard and to Boston, it's a. I want to touch on them briefly. A brutal way for that to go for them in that game. Since we're here on Rutland, let's briefly talk because we're not doing really a recap of the divisional round. Let's briefly touch on their game against New Jersey. Obviously, we found out in the last couple days it's going to be New Jersey's last game in the WFA as owner Guy Clausen stepped down this week. Big news there. It's unfortunate to lose a team, and it's always a bummer to go out like that. But they had a good season. They had a solid season, and I think they surprised people at times.
Yeah, they were in a tough division that has Vermont and Boston in it, and they still, they even beat the Whales at one point this season. They gave the Bull Moose a little bit of a fight. Obviously, won a playoff game. That's never easy. Just ran into Rutland. They're 5-0 for a reason.
Yeah, Battle of 5-0. Let's go over to the other team that's 5-0 now, and that would be our favorite team. Not that we have favorites. The Green Bay Wolfpack, just joshing around. And this is the storyline I picked out for them was Josh Wagner. Obviously, my quarterback, got a little bit of love for him. He's looking to become the first quarterback in WFA history to go to 3 Gen Bowls. And you might be thinking, hey, didn't Montreal go to like 7 in a row? They did. But they had a different quarterback basically every time.
Okay, different quarterback.
There's only been two-time champions at quarterback in the WFA, and that is Travis Matthews and Josh Wagner, but Wagner didn't play in the first game. So looking to get back to his second playing Gen Bowl, for him, for this Green Bay offense, where do they have to attack Rutland to be able to find that same rhythm they did Boston? And what pitfalls do they fall into with Boston that they need to avoid against the Red Devils?
I think overall the Wolfpack offense played very well. Obviously, you look only 26 points compared to the other 3 teams in the conference championship who all went over 40. I think the biggest concern for the Wolfpack is that red zone offense looked putrid. They got into inside the 10 3 separate times and walked away with 9 total points. This team, like, they brought in Trey Tucker in the offseason, so they have that insane backfield of Richmond Webb and Trey Tucker. But the thing is, this is still the Wolfpack. They aren't a run-heavy team, so they still struggle in power formations. They need to set themselves in positions where they can spread the field, and empty out the box a little bit and let Tucker cook. But sometimes the Wolfpack, they try to force things that aren't there. It's been a plague of the team for going on. This is now the 11th season of it.
And that's one thing that this team has, though, that the past Wolfpack teams hadn't, is a very competent run game. We saw with Tucker, he was able to carry at certain points of the game. I think going back to what you were saying, the biggest concern I have is that red zone defense, red zone offense, excuse me. Tucker wasn't able to get much done inside the red zone. And if they can't get something going inside the red zone and capitalize, Rutland's not going to let them off the hook like Boston did in that game. I want to give a lot of credit to Boston. They played a very good game. Their defense, I thought it was a lot of very quality defensive play calling. But it doesn't excuse Green Bay for being putrid. One thing with this defense for Rutland that's a little interesting, because one thing that Green Bay does a lot of is they run up the middle. If you look at Rutland's team, up the middle, their D tackles, 2 bronze D tackles. Their inside linebacker, a bronze inside linebacker. Where they put their money is on the edges of the defense. And I have a theory with that. Obviously, I don't think Barr's in the chat tonight to tell us, but my theory is that he's built this team to beat Colin. Colin loves the stretch. He has built this team to beat Colin. The question is, can they beat the Wolfpack too?
I think if there is a team to do it, I think out of all the teams left, any one of them can beat Green Bay. I don't think Green Bay is I think the question is, can everyone beat Vegas? But we'll get to that. Because I think the secondary looks very good. Chester Hayes, he's on a silver contract, but he's a gold player. Serene's another gold. Vandalay, another silver. Two gold safeties. So they match up very well against this, I'm going to say, elite Wolfpack receiving core. But it is interesting up the middle. It is a little bit weaker. I mean, Link, one of the D tackles, actually progressed. He's a silver, and Bentley is also a silver. But outside of that, it is not the greatest defense up the middle. And I think a lot of teams don't attack that because they try to be Colin Pierce. Which is a fair. I want to be Colin Pierce too. He has a lot of Gen Bulls, man. I have none.
I have one. Does that ring? No. Going to Art Vandalay for a second. 6'4", 190 cornerback. He's a big cornerback. He is a silver, and depending on how much man that Pottsville, or not Pottsville, wow, Freudian slip one of the night, Rutland runs, it's going to be Vandalay or it's going to be Von Pop lined up against Jared Willis in the slot. Now, Jared Willis, a guy who did not perform how I think we expected him to in that first game. He had a catch on the first drive. I think it was the first play of the game. Then didn't have a catch again for like 3 quarters. He has to be a bigger part of this. This is a full gold secondary from Rutland. Green Bay's going to chuck it, and if they're going to chuck it effectively, the weakest part is that nickelback. They have to attack it there with Statler and with Willis. They have to get them involved.
I mean, Willis in like the first half against Boston he wasn't there. I honestly, it's been so long since the Wolfpack played a game that I forgot he was there until about the third quarter. I went, oh yeah, we do have Willis. He is a rostered member of the Wolfpack.
Yeah, it took a bit. So yeah, I think that's my David Letters, Victoria Vanguard alum. The only team.
If we're getting technical, I do have a ring for Victoria. We're getting very specific.
We're getting very technical. But I will say, Victoria, the only team in WFA history to beat Colin Pierce in the playoffs. Put that on my mantle. Right there. Speaking of Colin Pierce, shall we get to the big game?
Oh, the big one.
The big one.
This is the game.
This is the game.
This, in all honesty, could be considered the Gen Bowl.
There we go. Return of the King. Return of the King. This is Colin Pierce's first game against the team formerly known as the Montreal Berserkers. What is your take on what we're going to see tomorrow?
So, I think, obviously, it's Colin Pierce. He's elite. He's a winner. He knows how to win. But here's the thing. If this Vegas team was Santa Fe last season, that team also went to a Gen Bowl. But they ran into something. They ran into a very angry Moose led by Rudy Rohan, the ballsiest quarterback you've ever met. So, and if I'm not right, it wasn't too much roster turnover from Santa Fe into Vegas. Obviously, there are some, but, Ryan Roosevelt's still there. Who, by the way, that Ryan Roosevelt trade, which was, last season, I've never seen a trade so perfectly down the middle even.
I disagree. I strongly disagree. Because that's a trade where Ryan Roosevelt was a user player exercising his right to demand a trade. Vermont had to trade him. And what do they get back? They get arguably the greatest tight end in WFA history in James Woodson, who has absolutely balled for Vermont. So when I'm looking at that trade, on paper, it's even. But once you realize Vermont didn't have, Vegas didn't have to trade Woodson. They chose to trade Woodson. They could have completely screwed Vermont over here in this because Ryan Roosevelt was forcing his way out. And yet they handed Rudy Rohan an elite replacement. Imagine this Vegas team with James Woodson at tight end. It's terrifying.
I would just hand him the Gen Bowl now.
Just hand him the Gen Bowl now. Speaking of, let's go on and talk about Rudy in the Riders of Rohan. Last week playing, I completely blank. Who'd they play last week? Dayton. David
No.
Brad
Yeah.
Dayton. You like how prepared we are, ladies and gentlemen? Whatever, they played another.
They played Des Moines.
My little
They
tagline
played
here
Des
is,
Moines.
is Dave less
Can you guys
rush?
tell that Hammer had this idea an hour and a half ago?
Yeah, we had this idea an hour and a half ago, and so all these graphics were made in the last half an hour. So, I think we're doing pretty good. We're getting this off without a hitch, right? Just like we planned it. Last week,
Yeah. Perfect.
Bradley Davis goes down with injury, and we go, oh no, that's the game. Oh, Corn Kings. They're playing the Corn Kings. That's
That's
who
what I said. Des Moines.
Oh, I said Dayton. I didn't hear you say it. Oh,
You
whatever.
said Dayton, and I go, no, they were playing Des Moines.
This is why he's here.
Yep.
But
I
Davis
streamed
goes
that game
down,
and I forgot.
and then Danny Rushing. Might I say, Victoria Vanguard legend, Danny Rushing, comes into the game and balls out. Which makes me ask, is this team running back proof?
Or is Danny Rushing just the greatest running back ever? Or is Bradley Davis just just the benefit of the great, going from Colin Pierce to Jack Brown, two coaches who have done very well with running backs. Don't forget, hey, Jack knows a thing or two about running backs. He was in Boston. He played with Blanchard. He's in Wyoming or Portland at the time. He knows Chris Dixon.
I love me some Portland.
Oh my God, Jack's had all three of the GOAT running backs.
Except for Akaji.
Well, yeah.
Akaji,
But Akaji
leads.
or
rushing
Akaji's
touchdown.
fallen off.
But Akaji leads all. Let me put it this way: I've been compiling the all-time stats. Akaji Adebowale has, I believe, 70 career rushing touchdowns. Which, if he never got another touchdown, if the guy in second place averaged a touchdown per game, it would take him over 3 seasons to catch up.
Akaji's good. Akaji's good.
May I add to that, the guy in second has played the same amount of seasons as Akaji. It's Cade Smith.
Remember when he was nicknamed Baby Goat?
Akaji is the greatest running back in WFA history. It's not even close. That's a different topic for a different time, for a different argument. Today, we're talking about Vermont. Vermont, obviously, running the ball. And this is Bradley Davis's revenge game against Colin Pierce. Colin Pierce threw him off, cast him aside, said, I don't want to play with you anymore, Woody. And Bradley Davis went on to be pretty much fine, except for, being outshined by Danny Rushing, Mr. Rushmore himself. Tonight, for this game against Vegas, do you think the key is going to be Rudy Rohan's arm or the disgusting combo of Bradley Davis and Danny Rushing?
I think, to me, I feel like Vermont has so many options everywhere offensively. I don't know if this game comes down to if Vermont's offense can keep up. I think it can be if Vegas can keep up. Because I think this game is probably going to be a lot of points scored. Both elite defenses, but these offenses are next level. These are both well-built offenses with incredible offensive masterminds leading the charge. Obviously, Vermont has the ugly Boston loss early in the season. They're only 4-1. There's a reason why they're the 4th seed. But, yeah, I think... But on the Vermont offensive side... I don't know. I feel like Rudy has really obviously yes, Bradley Davis was the face of Montreal. You can think of Montreal's Gen Bowl teams. I bet you can't name every quarterback. You can name the running back though. It's Bradley Davis. Yeah. But with Vermont, yeah, Bradley Davis is there, but he's not the face anymore. This is Rudy's team. So I think it'll come down to how does Rudy Rohan play? Because Rudy Rohan. That man's ballsy. He's not the perfect quarterback. He makes mistakes, but damn, is he a winner.
I have a counter argument to that. My counter argument is I'm going to read you a list of 5 names. Ryan Roosevelt, 6'5", 220, gold. Joe Pierce, 6'7", 225, gold. Mahir Monsoon. It's Monsoon. 6'5", 220 pounds, silver. Benny Vanderhuge, 6'7", 250, silver. And I'm going to tell you, that's the receiving core for Vegas. I'm going to give you one name from Vermont and why they're losing this game. Number 0, 6 foot, 196 pounds, Tyree Britton.
Tyree Britton.
So you don't have the defense. Vermont has an incredible defense, but not against an offense like this. Tyree Britton, his entire career, has been put in positions where he has been a liability. Tyree Britton's last time playing Colin Pierce in a Gem Bowl, Season 6, San Diego Gulls. It was a very good team. He got torched.
We all know my feelings on Tyree Britton. Me and him have a rough past. I gave him the opportunity to be great in this league, and he wasn't very good. You thought you could fix him. He wasn't very good.
I couldn't. That's my concern. Because
what I'm saying, but here's the thing. Vermont's played Ryan Roosevelt, and I think Joe Pierce was on that team last year too. And Vermont has a ring on their finger. And on the inside of that ring, it says the team they beat. And that was a Ryan Roosevelt receiver core.
That's a fair point.
Because the corners themselves aren't fantastic, but that's an incredible safety room.
Yeah, the safety room is what saves this team. And that could be the change. The change in this, I think the biggest thing is we didn't have Colin Pierce as head coach. And that changes a lot for this team. This team made a Gem Bowl without Pierce. Now he's here. I just think it's going to be that much better. And I think another thing that you're going to have to look at is Vermont's one of the few teams that's invested in offensive line. They have a 2 gold offensive linemen, a silver offensive lineman. And that's going to be huge because Vegas has an all-gold defensive line. Rudy Rohan is a gunslinger. He just throws it. He just says, F it, we ball, and throws it. And
he goes.
I worry.
Blair's down there somewhere.
I worry that in the big moments with this team, when they get pressured and Rudy's on his back foot, is he going to be the first one to blink in this game?
Mm-hmm.
He wasn't asked to do that in a defensive game. But if this game's a 45-42 game, is Rudy going to be the one who blinks first? Because one thing Colin Pierce is extraordinarily good at is insulating his quarterbacks. Colin Pierce may be a bronze quarterback. He knows how to insulate his guy, and he has a playbook in there to insulate him. It has not. He's not slowed down that offense at all. I think the multiplicity of the Vegas Terror team is why they're going to win this game. Speaking of the Terror, can anyone stop the Terror? Colin Pierce 14-1 all time in playoffs. That's called a segue. Oh, I'm back.
Hey, I'll give you your moment. Who's the one?
You already know. Victoria Vanguard Season 7, baby.
There's no video proof of that, unfortunately.
Both my Gem Bowls lost to history. Of all the Gem Bowls, we could have lost like 4 of Colin Pierce's. He has like another 4 to use. No, the only 2 Gem... No, okay. We do have one of my Gem Bowls. The only one I never want to see again. That's my question to you, Jake. Can anyone stop the Terror? Of these 4 teams, not theoretically any given Sunday, but will any one of these 4 teams stop this Terror team? Who is it and why?
Do we have Season 7 Victoria sitting around?
I do have the file.
They ready to...
Do I just throw the Wolfpack uniforms on them? Why is the country out of
we got the quarterback. We got the quarterback.
Hey, that's all people notice is the quarterback.
And we got one of the receivers.
And Kareem Young, defensive line.
You know what? I think if anyone else can do it, yeah, that's right. It's the boys in the frozen tundra, bro.
It's gonna be fine. I'll take that as a no. Colin Pierce, you are the favorite to win the Gem Bowl. Hall of Famer Colin Pierce. It's a shame because the news came out today, and we're breaking news right now. Colin Pierce will not return to the Terror for season 12. So this will be possibly his last game he coaches in history for in the WFA. And so my question to you, Jake, does he put on a show for possibly his final game? Does he make sure it's not his final game?
Absolutely. Oh no! If it's gonna be Pierce's last game, it's going to be the last game of the season. It's gonna be down in, oh, by the way, Athens. Yeah, that's right. That's where the Gen Bowl is. I bet you guys forgot about that because we made that up like 3 days ago. Because the original location was funny, but I decided not to do it.
For legal reasons that we cannot talk about at the moment.
Yeah, I think as much as I'm gonna be completely honest, Colin, don't hate me. I am cheering for the Bull Moose on this. You know, Jack's boy.
We are all
love
cheering
Vermont.
for the Bull Moose right now. Let's be perfectly honest here, Colin. I clip
It's
this and
just a
send it to
weird
Colin.
thing.
We are all cheering for the Bull Moose. This is like when that map of like when the Kansas City Chiefs are in the Super Bowl, and it's like the whole map is rooting for everyone else.
Yeah. I believe in the Bull Moose. I think Vermont can do it. I think it's possible. It's not completely crazy to say, but it's going to take a perfect game from Vermont. Vermont has no room for error. You have to come out swinging. You have to trust yourself, and it's gonna come down probably to Rudy Rohan. He did it. He won a Gen Bowl already. He knows how to do it. Oh, hi Athens. Why are you on my face?
Well, we gotta show the people the WFA
Yeah.
season 11 Gen Bowl logo that was made a day ago.
Yeah. DM this man. I'm like, I'm gonna change. I'm making an executive decision. We're putting the Gen Bowl in Athens over the place that won't be named. You want to make me a logo real quick? He goes, okay. And then like 2 hours later, he goes, what about this? I go, dope.
So we got to deal with the devil here. I forgot to highlight this graphic, so I'm just going back to it just to show the graphic. Green Bay's looking to.
Because he's really proud of it, by the way.
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. In like 20 minutes to come up with this, not bad. I'm not going to make you pick this game, Jake, because I know you don't pick Wolfpack games, and
we know about positions.
I also don't pick Wolfpack games, but I will tell you who you got and who you got has for you in this one.
Okay.
Who you got has voted that by one vote. At the current moment, Green Bay's production is favored to win this game. If you haven't voted, go vote. Make your voice heard in the Discord. But right now, Green Bay picked to win. And so far in the playoffs, picks have been perfect. Overall in the season, I think they have 9 misses out of 20, 30, 40 picks. Yeah, so far we've been 4-0 in the playoffs. And so that also brings me to the final slide. Well, 2 more things. Oops, let me get over to this one. Turn of the King. This one does not involve the Wolfpack. So Jake, who will win, the Vermont Bull Moose or the Vegas Terror?
Saying it right now. I don't know if I go with my heart or I go with my brain, but you know what? I'm an emotional guy. I'll go with my heart. Jack Brown, I support you. The Bull Moose are winning this game.
That's a true friend.
And if not, I'll make sure to pre-record the game. I'll just keep going until you win, I guess.
For legal reasons, that's a joke. Now you get to prove that the game is not rigged if they win. You have to be like, I swear.
No, don't worry. Right before I stream it, I'm gonna right when I start streaming the game, I'm like, this is the time. Here's the 360 on. Here's OBS not streaming.
So, Vibe, you have an extraordinarily good team. I think that the Bull Moose are going to outperform Vegas in this game. I think that Rudy Rohan's going to have a game of his life. I think Bradley Davis is going to show Colin why he made the biggest mistake he ever made was letting him walk and not coming back. to the Montreal Berserkers. This is the Berserker revenge game on Colin. And with that being said, Colin Pierce is going to mop the floor with him.
Mop the floor?
It's going to be double digits.
What are we talking about?
It's going to be double digits. Double digits right now. I'm
like double digits, like, you know, Rudy's driving down 7 and then a late pick 6, or like this is going to be Vegas from opening kickoff to the final whistle.
You know what this number is? This is how many interceptions Rudy's going to throw before the 4th.
Or the 4th.
Before the 4th.
Okay.
I'm sorry, Vibe. I only speak the truth. And that does kind of... that's one hot take, but let's just wrap this up. I think this has been a very successful stream. For the first time back.
I know.
This went like fairly smoothly. This was enjoyable. But before we go, Jake, I want your hot take for the conference championship round. Give me your hottest take for what's going to happen.
Hottest take I got? Rutland is being held under 100 rushing.
Ooh. Right.
And hot takes. I'm not saying things I think are going to happen.
All right. For me, I already gave a hot take. I have to give another one. I should have saved it for this moment. But my other hot take is going to be Bradley Davis is going to rush for over 150 yards, and the Vermont Bull Moose are still going to lose.
If I'm Bradley Davis and I lose after going for 150, bro, just like...
Just retire. Hang it up. Hang it up. Hang it up.
I'm right down on a piece of paper. Get me out of here.
Get me out of here. And with that,
I'm immediately demanding a trade to Green Bay.
You ruined my outro. You ruined my outro. You said, get me out of here. And I was going to say, it's time to get us out of here. But no! You had to get one word in. With that being said, Hammer, it's Jake over there.
Yep.
It's the WFA.
Yeah, man.
It's back, baby. Have a good night. Wrong image.
She just started to pop it for a nigga, then looked back and told me, baby, it's real. And I say I ain't doubt you for a second.